91.3 WVKR Independent Radio, Poughkeepsie, New York. You are tuned into LocalMotion. We air live each and every Wednesday from 4 to 6 p.m. Please consider subscribing to the YouTube channel as well as giving a like to the LocalMotion on 91.3 WVKR Facebook page. We just heard a track from Mark Morganelli and the Jazz Form All-Stars. Brazil is the name of the album. Let's get Mark on the phone. Thrilled to have him with us today. Mark?
Yes.
Yes, you're here. Wonderful. That's always a good start when I don't disconnect somebody.
I'm here.
Wonderful. Let me do a brief introduction, if I may, to the listeners here of the show. I'll start out by saying that trumpeter, flugelhornist Mark Morganelli has been presenting concerts since 1979. Mark has produced more than 60 CDs, 20 of which were recorded live at New York City's Birdland Jazz Club. He's performed at the Montreux Jazz Festival, Syracuse Jazz Festival, Toronto, Saratoga Jazz Festivals, and has done several tours of Italy, along with many concerts in Europe, Japan, Brazil, and the Caribbean. Mark and his wife Ellen opened their highly acclaimed Jazz Forum Club in Tarrytown, New York in June of 2017. And with that, a warm welcome to LocalMotion Mark Morganelli.
Thank you so much, Rita. Great to be with you.
Yeah, lovely to have you. I want to congratulate you on your almost 5-year anniversary of the club in the location that it's at.
Oh, thank you so much. It seemed so distant when we were getting ready to open. It took 25 months to build the place and get all the permits, licenses, and approvals to finally be able to open 5 years ago.
Well, we're so glad, and you're definitely a treasure. I've been to the club a few times. The first moment I walked in there, it felt like so comfortable. And the vibe in there and what you guys have done, I can't say enough about it. The food was amazing. The service is awesome. The libations, the bar, the whole thing. So we want to get all into your amazing club, Jazz Forum in Tarrytown, New York. But I'd like to start off, just because I always do this and say, this is your life, Mark Morganelli, and start off with your start with music. I understand that you started taking trumpet lessons in elementary school because your dad encouraged you. Is that correct?
Yes, we used to drum together on the floor with drumsticks, to big band records. He was a big band fanatic, actually, a fan. That's what a fan is, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
He loved big bands, as did my mom. They loved singers and instrumentalists, Count Basie, Duke Ellington, Dorsey, both Dorseys, Jimmy Dorsey, Tommy Dorsey, Glenn Miller, Artie Shaw. Oh, my goodness, and then the singers that I got to listen to as a little kid. Frank Sinatra, of course, Joe Williams, Tony Bennett, Ella Fitzgerald, Sarah Vaughan, Peggy Lee, on and on like that, And so,
what a great way to get started. Did you grow up in New York, Mark?
Out in Long Island.
Yeah.
On the North Shore, a little town called Glen Head. Yeah. Near Glen Cove, Oyster Bay, Roslyn. I sound like the train conductor. But anyway, so we were able to hear a lot of great music on the radio, and also my dad had a nice collection of 78s, then LPs eventually, Yeah. And so listening to a lot of that music in the 50s, growing up.
Yeah. That's some good stuff. And then you played in high school jazz bands also, and then went to Bucknell University in Pennsylvania and pursued a music degree there, correct?
Correct, right. So I started playing trumpet in 4th grade, and that was in 1964. And then was in the high school jazz band. Got my first solo on Neil Hefti's Little Darlin'.
Oh.
Yeah, that was my first solo 50 years ago. Hard to believe.
Oh, my gosh.
And then I went to Bucknell in Lewisburg, Pennsylvania, and was with the Bucknell Jazz and Rock Ensemble for 4 years. We did roughly 200 concerts. I brought the band to the Montreux Jazz Festival, as you mentioned. The next week we came back and we opened for Sha Na Na at Wolf Trap in Vienna, Virginia. And I took the recordings from both of those gigs and put them together and issued an album called BJRE, not the Brooklyn Jewish Religious Experience, but the Bucknell Jazz and Rock Ensemble, and live at Montreux and Wolf Trap. And the next year we went in the studio, and I produced my first studio album of that big band in New York in a studio. So that's where I got my start, even producing, not just playing, but producing.
Right. It seems for you to kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah, I guess I started on the business side with, booking myself in high school, but that wasn't a lot of business. But by the time I got to college, I was the business manager for a couple of years of that Bucknell band. So I wound up booking us all over, and ultimately in my senior year, January '77, rented a Continental Trailways Silver Eagle bus and brought our 23-piece band around the country on a tour. We did a 3-week tour playing in New Orleans and at the Superdome and there and North Texas State University and all over Florida and North Carolina, eventually Long Island, Philadelphia, and back to Bucknell. It was quite a January 1977.
Wow. Now that's some great stories that you got going on there. And you, of course, went to see a lot of live music too, right? That immersed you even more into the scene.
Yeah, my first concert that I attended on the large scale was at the Nassau Coliseum while I was in high school. I saw Carlos Santana opening act Tower of Power.
Oh, my gosh. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And actually, in that same year or two, I bought at a place called the Stone Cellar in Roslyn, which sold a bunch of stuff, but it also sold records. And I bought Miles Davis's Bitches Brew, which had just won the Grammy Award. And so that double LP blew my mind, because I had been listening up to that point to Harry James, Louis Armstrong, Doc Severinsen, Al Hurt, Herb Alpert, and then all of a sudden I hear Miles going da 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 da. I'm like, what is that?
Right.
And then I met him years later, and he signed it to me, and it's framed and up on the wall in the pool room.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. When I was at your place last month, a friend of mine had never been there, and I met her there, and I showed her your pool room and all those albums, and her mouth was dropping. So, yeah, good stuff. Now, you also, I understand, opened your first Jazz Forum loft in 1979.
Yes, it was about a month after my 24th birthday.
Wow.
And I had a little chutzpah, as they say.
Yeah.
And decided I could do it, and I started, and we had, guest artists that were kind of legendary. Dizzy Reese on trumpet, and the next weekend Clifford Jordan on tenor sax, along with our house rhythm section, because that's all I could afford to pay. And so when you say house rhythm section, they actually lived there in my loft with me.
Whoa.
And so, yeah, we had piano, bass, and drums right in the house there, and that became the rhythm section, and I brought in guests. Within a few weeks, couple of months, I was bringing in Kenny Barron's trio, Roy Haynes's quartet, Pepper Adams' quartet, David Amram, Barry Harris, Tommy Flanagan. Then I really took off at that point.
Amazing. Wow. And so young. Wow. You also spent some time, obviously big time into the New York City jazz scene, but at Birdland, you were the music coordinator there for quite a few years also, yes?
Yeah, 5.5 years, from 88 to 93. Mm-hmm. And as you said, 20 live albums for Candid there. Louis Hayes, who just played here a couple of weeks ago, and is in his mid-80s now, was the first live album, his band. It was a sextet with Charles Tolliver and John Stubblefield and others. It was really, really nice. It's called The Crawl on Candid. But I was able to make my album there called Speak Low on Candid with Kenny Barron, Ron Carter, and Jimmy Cobb. So that was nice.
Man, really nice, really nice. Now, you also, this jazz club thing, talk to me about the Riverside Park Arts Festival.
Well, so I moved over to Broadway and Bleecker with the second loft, and that lasted 2.5 years. That's when, I met Wynton Marsalis and Art Blakey and Philly Joe Jones and on and on and on. And then when I lost that loft, I went over to the Village Gate and produced with Art DeLugoff for a little while. And then met my wife, Ellen, at our 10-year high school reunion in Glen Head. So
get out. You went to the same high school?
Yeah, that was the fall of '83, and then I moved up to her apartment on the Upper West Side. I went to a meeting of the Friends of Riverside Park, and I asked the director, Charles McKinney, why doesn't he do jazz in Riverside Park? And he said, why don't you do jazz in Riverside Park? So I took up the gauntlet, formed my nonprofit, and the next year I was presenting jazz in Riverside Park in '85.
Wow. Oh my gosh. That's you definitely have produced some amazing music for the masses to hear, for sure. I also understand that you are an avid runner.
I am. I just came back from a 5-miler. It was so beautiful out. I just ran along the river here in Tarrytown and Sleepy Hollow. And we just came back from being in Italy. In fact, I played a concert in Lucca, Italy. And I ran every other day along the walls. I don't know if you know, it's a walled city. It goes back to Etruscan times before the Romans. And so I ran on the walls. It's about a 2.6-mile circuit. I did 2 of those every other day. Did like 14 times, 77 miles I wound up running while I was over there. Yeah.
Wow. And you've also completed 3 New York City marathons and 2 Boston?
Yeah. Yes, I did Boston in '74. The Boston Marathon was just run on Monday.
Yeah.
So I ran it in '73 while I was still in high school, and I had lousy shoes that gave me these blisters. So I dropped out at mile 15 that year in '73 and vowed to come back with better shoes, which I did. I had Adidas SL72s. And I finished the marathon at a month before my 19th birthday in 3 hours and 24 minutes.
Very respectable.
Yeah, it took 30 years off to get into jazz, and came back and ran New York in '05, '07, and '10. And my time in '05 was 3:27. So New York has more hills actually, even though there are Heartbreak Hills. Heartbreak Hill and the Boston Marathon. New York has a bunch of elevation changes over those bridges and everything.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty good. 30 years in roughly the same time.
Wow. Yeah, no, that's pretty impressive. And what a great thing, to absolutely get into, especially the past couple of years. Talk to me about, you guys did some good things during the pandemic. You were closed for a while. Talk to me about the last few years at Jazz Forum.
Yes. Well, we closed. First of all, we were supposed to do this trip to Italy 2 years ago, and I would have had gigs in Brescia, Bergamo, and Milan.
Oh,
right when the epicenter of the virus globally, when they had just 200 confirmed cases and no deaths. That's how early that was in the pandemic. So we didn't go, and we stayed home here. And within a couple of weeks, I transitioned our live programming to virtual. And thanks to Clara Winder, she went to all these artists' homes all over the tri-state area, and we broadcast them, live on Facebook as Jazz Forum at Home live streams. And then we eventually transitioned to the club when we were closed for 15 months, 446 days.
Who's counting?
Yeah, but then when we reopened, we transitioned the live streams to Thursday nights here at the club, did that all through the end of last year, and then phased it out after 90 live streams, including 6 premium live streams, 5-camera high-def shoots with pro audio of Bill Charlap, Kenny Barron, Julius Rodriguez, John Patitucci. Was amazing.
Wow.
Amazing.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. It's anybody that did that during the pandemic. It certainly helped the musicians, but it really also helped those that love to go see live music. Right. So it was a win-win for everyone. So, Jazz Forum, your club, you and your wife's club in Tarrytown, you've been bringing great music. You've been producing recordings. Tell me the story of how you found the building and why there, and the history of Jazz Forum, the young history of it.
Absolutely. We were basically committed to downsizing and selling our home in Dobbs Ferry because it was a large 5-bedroom house, had high taxes, and both of our boys were grown and out of the house, so we didn't really need that. And we looked at a few houses here, half a dozen roughly in Tarrytown. Nothing spoke to us. And we said, well, let's look at this commercial building. Let's see what it is, And so I came here first. I walked in to the ground floor of a raw space with concrete floors, white walls, and the track lighting, and one lousy bathroom. And basically underwhelming, right? But it immediately spoke to me, and I said, wow, this could be a club. And then I went upstairs, and I saw that they had an apartment upstairs with a roof deck, and it was just really gorgeous, kind of like a loft, bohemian, Brooklyn meets the East Village kind of vibe to it.
With a view of the Hudson?
Yeah, I'm looking at the Hudson as we're speaking right now.
Nice.
And so Ellen came the next day, had the same reaction. So about the club and living there. So I said, well, let's do it. So we signed a contract and then said, well, we better put our house on the market. So we did that, and it sold in 7 weeks in the winter.
Wow.
We put it on in December. It sold in January. That's a tough time to sell a house.
Absolutely.
But we did it, and, a few months later, we moved in here in May 7 years ago.
Wow.
Now.
Wow.
Hard to believe.
And did some major renovation to the place, right?
Oh, yes. We had to completely renovate the ground floor. And as I mentioned, the 25-month process, or as Ellen likes to say, a gestation period of 800 days. And then it took us so long that the 2-year term of our liquor license, which we had gotten right away, expired. We had to renew the liquor license before we opened.
Oh, that's fantastic. So Jazz Forum is a 90 or 100-seat theater, yeah?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And you're not for profit.
Right.
So you...
Yeah. And so basically our nonprofit started in 85 with our founding board that included Wynton Marsalis and Dizzy Gillespie and David Amram and others. And now we have a wonderful executive board that meets quarterly and is incredibly supportive of what we're doing and guiding us. And, between our 32 free outdoor summer concerts, the club, our award-winning Jitterbugs early childhood education program, our jam sessions, we have our hands full.
Yes, you absolutely do. You also have memberships available. Your website is jazzforumarts.org. So if people are wondering, because I'm a big supporter of artists and venues and musicians and living people, right? So you can become a member of Jazz Forum Arts if you're wondering how to support people, especially now with what you've all been going through. So memberships are available. You can go to jazzforumarts.org. Your club is open weekends, right? Friday through Sunday?
Correct. Friday, Saturday, headline jazz groups that play all 4 sets, 7 and 9:30. And then on Sundays, we've been pretty committed to Brazilian music, because I love Brazilian music. But we're now transitioning to presenting a lot of jazz groups as well on Sundays, so we'll mix it up.
And your Friday and Saturday shows, there are 2 shows each night, 7 and 9:30. Tickets available online. The Sunday shows are at 4 and 6 p.m. Is that correct?
That is correct. And this weekend, we're so excited to welcome back, for his first time since the pandemic, because he only played here once, the great Eddie Palmieri, NEA Jazzman.
You've got a couple of those shows sold out this weekend.
Yeah, the 7 o'clocks are gone, but the 9:30 still have some availability.
Yeah, wonderful. And then on Sunday you have Jay
Jay Lenhart.
Yes.
Who's a raconteur, virtuoso bassist who played with Frank Sinatra, Tony Bennett, Peggy Lee, you name it, Rosemary Clooney. He played with so many people. And he wrote a song, which I know he's going to do this weekend. It's called Me and Lenny, New York to L.A., about his transcontinental flight from New York to Los Angeles, sitting next to Leonard Bernstein.
Wow.
It's a wonderful song.
Wow.
Great song.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I bet. What an experience that must have been. And then next weekend, April 28th and 29th, you have Chili Minucci, if I'm saying that correctly.
It's
Kieli. Okay, yeah.
And special effects. Yeah, in fact, Joel Rosenblatt is going to play drums, and he played when I presented Spyro Gyra. He was the drummer in Spyro Gyra, I think the first time I presented them like 25, 30 years ago.
Yeah, I've seen him, and he's quite a performer. And then Steve Nelson on May 1st. Yeah. And May 6 and 7, Scott Robinson Quartet. On the 8th, you have Stephanie Nakasayan.
Nakazian.
See, that's why we need you.
Yes, Stephanie Nakazian is an incredible vocalist. Has sung with John Hendricks and company, with that whole crew, and she and her late husband, the pianist Hod O'Brien, have a daughter by the name of Veronica Swift.
Okay.
I don't know if you know her, but she's a fantastic young vocalist.
Great. Yeah, your lineup is absolutely amazing. You have Karen Allison Quartet, Alan Broadbent Trio, Houston Person, Bill Charlop is coming in the beginning of June. I mean, this lineup, folks, is absolutely amazing. If you like jazz or love jazz, jazzforumarts.org, definitely the place to look at your upcoming lineup for sure. Tickets available right online. So easy. I also want to mention your COVID safety protocols, please.
Yes. Since the beginning of August, we have been requiring proof of vaccination.
Perfect.
And we were requiring mask wearing, but now that the CDC has relaxed the mask mandate, we're no longer requiring that, but some people are more comfortable wearing it, so it's no big deal, But anyway, thankfully, knock on wood, we've been very safe, and coming up to our 5th anniversary. So it's all good.
Yeah, absolutely. And you also, again, the Friday, Saturday shows, you have Sunday afternoon shows, and the first Sunday of each month. Are you still doing the jazz jam sessions?
We are, and it's hosted by the great pianist. He's fabulous. His name is David Janeway, and he has a trio with him. And then we get about 20 to 25 musicians and singers, instrumentalists and singers that come and sit in, and about 20 or 25 listeners. I've been saying those numbers, but quite frankly, the numbers have been increasing. We've been getting like 60 or 70 people now,
wow,
which is interesting because 40 years ago when I had the Jazz Forum, I was committed to doing these jam sessions, and I had the drummer, Joe Jones Jr., son of Papa Joe Jones of Count Basie fame, running the jam sessions, and we'd get 75 musicians on a Tuesday night back then.
Wow. Yeah. All right. So, lots of great things. Talk to me about the summer concert series, Mark.
Sure. We're, first of all, the club and the summer concerts are sponsored by Montefiore Einstein, and we're very appreciative of their continued support. We just think the new expanded deal with increased sponsorship and through 2024 with them. So we're very excited about that.
And where are the concerts held?
We're doing 32 free concerts in July and August, right after the 4th of July. So the first one is going to be on July 6th at Dobbs Ferry Waterfront Park. I started that series in 2000. This is our 22nd year there.
Wow.
All our summer concerts are free and 6:30 to 8 p.m. Weeknights, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Some Tuesdays in August at Haran's Landing, where I played with my Brazilian group in Sleepy Hollow, and alternate Mondays in Ossining at Henry Gourdine Park in July and August. So we've got Lyndhurst on Thursdays here in Tarrytown and Fridays at Pearson Park in Tarrytown.
Music is your life, Mark. This is beautiful. You put a big smile on my face, and you've got a good thing going on there at the beautiful Jazz Forum. Talk about your menu. The food is really good at Jazz Forum.
It is, and we're very, very lucky and appreciative that we have John Chamble as our chef. John had a place called Custom Cuisine in Tarrytown, and then Good Food in Briarcliff Manor. For 20-plus years, 20 to 25 years, he owned his own place. And so we were lucky that he was available and has been with us for about 2.5 years now. And he used to cater my concerts at the Tarrytown Music Hall. Before you asked me why Tarrytown, well, we did 22 years and 150 concerts from 92 to 2013 at the Tarrytown Music Hall, which is 843 seats, built in 1885. So I knew there was an audience here, you know.
Right.
It wasn't like we just said, let's buy a building in Tarrytown and start a jazz club. No, we knew we had a critical mass that wanted this here.
Right. And you guys are thriving, and and you're if the first person to play when you opened in 2017 was
Roy Hargrove.
Wow. Nice way to start.
Roy Hargrove Quintet, and he also played our first anniversary, so that was very exciting.
What are you doing for the
now,
5th?
You ready for this? So
I'm ready.
For the 5th, we have, for the 4 weekends of June, to celebrate our 5th anniversary, first weekend is going to be Bill Charlap Trio with Peter Washington and Kenny Washington. The second weekend is going to be John Pizzarelli Trio. The third weekend of June, Monty Alexander Trio. And the fourth weekend of June, I just booked this before I came on the phone with you, Michelle Camilo solo piano.
Oh, wonderful. Congratulations. Woo!
Thank you.
Bravo. That's great. That's wonderful. Wow. Good for you. Good for you. I'm going to try to get my butt back down there, because I tell you what, it's a really easy ride. I have to say, you know, we broadcast from Poughkeepsie, but we go all the way into Westchester in Connecticut. And I came down the Taconic, and a few minutes later I was at your club, and it really easy to find, and just the vibe, just really well. Talk about the artwork too, because you're a big supporter of artists. Visual.
My wife Ellen Pryor curates the rotating gallery of contemporary art, and last night we had our spring gallery reception here with about 75 folks with wine and cheese, and she interviewed 4 of the 5 participating artists, so we had an artist conversation. It was really wonderful. And the art is all for sale, and the portion of proceeds from the sale of any art goes as a tax-deductible contribution to Jazz Forum Arts, so it's a win-win there, too, as well.
Yeah, absolutely. jazzforumarts.org. Recommend going to check this place out. 2 shows each night, Friday, Saturday, Sunday afternoon shows at 4 and 6. First Sunday of each month, jazz jam sessions from 8 to 10. Outdoor concerts. Your website says it all. So Jazz Forum Arts is the place to go. Now, you've also sent me some really good music. I just want to quickly go through some of these tracks. I don't know how to pronounce it, so I'm not even going to try. We started off from the All-Stars, the Brazil album, Chovenda.
It's called Chovendo na Roceira.
Yes.
It's in Portuguese, and it means it's raining on the rose bush. It's by Antonio Carlos Jobim, who is my favorite composer, and that is my favorite composition of his. So,
nice. That's how we started the show off.
Yes.
Beautiful. Well, since it's 4:20, I have to play the track Who's Smokin'. So if you could tell us about this one, that'd be great.
Sure. Who's Smoking comes from an album, one of the 40 I produced for Candid Records. We did this one in the studio at the old RCA recording studios in Midtown. And it's Paquito de Rivera's group plus special guest James Moody on tenor saxophone. So I got to not only produce it, but play on 2 of the tracks. Claudio Roditi was playing trumpet. I was playing flugelhorn. Danilo Perez on piano, Harvey S. on bass, and Al Foster on drums. And Claudio Roditi and Paquito de Rivera wrote this tune called Who's Smoking, because James Moody used to stand on a platform, a train platform, and could tell if someone was smoking a cigarette from a mile away, and who's smoking?
Right.
Who's smoking?
Who's smoking? Yeah, you can pretty much smell that stuff everywhere.
And here from this track, everyone's smoking on this track.
Right, yeah, exactly. Well, not every radio station plays an 8-minute track, because this is an 8-minute track, but I'm going to do that because that's what the beauty of independent radio can do for you. So, Mark, I want to say thank you, and I hope people run down to your club, Jazz Forum in Tarrytown. It is a wonderful place to be. Thanks for all you do for the live music scene, keeping it going and keeping it alive, even during these crazy last few years. Thank you to you and Ellen for providing such a beautiful jazz club in the heart of Westchester. And I commend you, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Rita, for all your efforts to promote the music to so many people, and you really spread the word and let people have a great experience, both on the airwaves and live and in person.
Well, wonderful. Thank you, and I will see you soon, Mark, and stay safe and enjoy the music. Thank you.
Thanks. Keep swinging.
Thank you. You too. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
91.3 WVKR, independent radio, Poughkeepsie, New York, the owner of Jazz Forum in Tarrytown, New York. Intimate little jazz club, but boy, is it delightful. I've been down probably a handful of times over the last few years, obviously not the last two. I was just down there last month and have seen everything I've seen there has been fantastic. I just saw the great Catherine Russell there last month with a friend of mine, and it was just always a wonderful experience. Jazz Forum. And let me give you the website, jazzforumarts.org. Let's, as promised, play the track that's 8 minutes long. Sit back, enjoy, or drive, or wherever it is you're doing listening to this. This one's titled, Who's Smokin'? On 4/20/22, 91.3 WVKR. 91.3 WVKR Independent Radio, Poughkeepsie, New York. Beautiful 8-minute track, Who's Smokin'? The title track of the album by the same name by Paquito de Rivero with James Moody. Thank you to Mark Morganelli from Jazz Forum in Tarrytown for being the guest today. And that's a track he's played on and produced. And we're going to play another track of his music. And let's see what we're going to pull up here. This one will be Blues for Ian, and it's from Mark Morganelli and the Jazz Forum All-Stars Speak Low album. This was actually recorded live at Birdland in New York City. Let's take a listen to this right here, right now on 91.3 WVKR. 91.3 WVKR Independent Radio Poughkeepsie. Mark Morganelli and the Jazz Forum All-Stars featuring Kenny Barron, Ron Carter, Jimmy Cobb, recorded live at Birdland in New York City. The song called Blues for Ian. Thank you again to Mark Morganelli for being my guest here today on LocalMotion. It's a thrill talking with him, and I'm a huge fan of his venue down in Tarrytown called Jazz Forum. If you are a jazz aficionado, if you just simply once in a while like jazz, it's definitely a great place to hang. Top-notch, world-class performers each and every weekend. They do 2 shows there, Friday and Saturday nights with headliners, and then they do Sunday evening performances as well. jazzforumarts.org. If you missed that interview or want to hear it again, it'll be uploaded tonight on the YouTube channel. If you'd please subscribe to LocalMotion on 91.3 WVKR on the YouTube channel, that would be appreciated, as well as giving a like to the Facebook page by the same name. So now we're going to start the other part of the show, which includes music mostly from musicians that have gigs coming up this week. And let's see, I think what I want to do is I always start off with a track for Tony, and now I'm looking to see where I put that track for Tony, so I can't find that track for Tony. So we're just going to figure it out, and I'll find it here. So to honor Tony Falco from the Falcon in Marlborough, every hour, every show that I do where I don't have a guest, I start off with a track to dedicate to Tony Falco from his playlist. He left us with a really cool playlist, so every week I play a track from that. Today I am going to play a track by Tom Waits, which is a really cool one, and older one, but really cool. And it I'll let you listen to it, and then we'll talk more about it afterwards. But yeah, so this is to honor Tony Falco. Keep the Falcon going. It's doing great. His son Lee is taking over the place and really booking some great acts. He's also partnered with the gentleman that puts on the Saratoga Performing Arts Jazz Festival, and they've got some great Sunday night evenings going on there of jazz on Sundays. So always a great place to go. Check out their musical lineup, and let's start this show off right now to honor Tony, who started this beautiful place called the Falcon in Marlborough. Let's take a listen to Tom Waits. This one's called Hold On.
Sign up in our town. If you live it up, you won't live it down. So she left Monte Rio's son, just like a bullet leaves a gun. With a charcoal eyes and Monroe hips, she went and took that California trip. Oh, the moon was gold and her hair like wind. Said, don't look back, just come on, Jim. Oh, you got to hold on, hold on. You got to hold on, take my hand, standing right here, you got to hold on. Dime store watch and a ring made from a spoon. Everyone's looking for someone to blame, and you share my bed, you share my name. Well, go ahead, call the cops. You don't meet nice girls in coffee shops. She said, baby, I still love you. Sometimes there's nothing left to do. Oh, but you got to hold on, hold on. Baby, gotta hold on and take my hand. Standing right here, gotta hold on. Down by the Riverside Motel, it's 10 below and falling. By a 99-cent store, she closed her eyes and started swaying. But it's so hard to dance that way when it's cold and there's no music. Oh, your old hometown so far away, but inside your head there's a record that's playing a song called Hold On, Hold On. Baby, gotta hold on to take a mind. Standing right there, gotta hold on. You gotta hold on, hold on. Baby, gotta hold on. Take a mind. Standing right there, gotta hold on. You gotta hold on, hold on. Baby, gotta hold on and take a mind. Standing right here, you gotta hold on. You gotta hold on, baby, gotta hold on and take my hand. Standing right here, you gotta hold on. 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 You gotta hold on.
91.3 WVKR Independent Radio, Poughkeepsie, New York. It is 5 o'clock on the nose. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. I'm your host, Rita Ryan. We're here with LocalMotion each and every Wednesday from 4 to 6 p.m. If this is your first time tuning into the show, this show is all about music of the Hudson Valley. I speak with musicians that live here, those that come here to perform, as well as those coming to record in our world-class area recording studios. I want to say thank you again to Mark Morganelli, who was my guest here during the 4 o'clock hour. If you missed part or all of that interview because you're just tuning in now, you can check it out later tonight on the YouTube channel as well as on the LocalMotion on 91.3 WVKR Facebook page. So that was a lot of fun speaking with him. We also just heard Tom Waits, the album called Mule Variations, released in 1999. We heard the track called Hold On. That was on Tony Falco's playlist. I start off each and every show here with a track for Tony, to remember Tony, to honor Tony, to thank Tony for all the music that he's given us over the years and the music he left on his playlist. And so that was Tom Waits' Hold On. And speaking of the Falcon, always a great lineup happening there. Tomorrow night, a lot of fun. If you haven't seen him yet, you may want to. Let's take a listen. This performer will be at the Falcon tomorrow, Thursday. Willie Amrod, 91.3 WVKR, Independent Radio, Poughkeepsie.
ain't, but you got what it takes, baby case. All the guys really think you're fine, baby case. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I remind you that you're mine, oh my baby case. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're the number one in my neighborhood. You look so, feel so, kiss so good. Oh, you got what it takes, my baby cake. Well, there's devil cakes and angel cakes, a little both in my baby cakes. Now ice cream is sweet and sugar is sweeter, but baby cakes kisses are hard to beat. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. 91.3 WVKR. Willie Amrod. The Amrod Band with Fred Wesley is the release called Everywhere is Out of Town, featuring Pee Wee Ellis and Maceo Parker on this release that came out in 2012. Willie Amrod performing tomorrow night to honor the great Pee Wee Ellis. Willie Amrod with LaDee Streeter celebrating the late and beloved Pee Wee Ellis tomorrow night at the Falcon in Marlborough, featuring Stanley Banks from George Benson Band, Vito Petrosito, Dave Neufeld, Johnny Greenbacks, Eddie Flickle, Peter Martin, and the Out-of-Town Horns. Always a great time seeing Willie Amrod. Shows start at 7 o'clock. You can call the Falcon, make a reservation online at liveatthefalcon.com. Willie Amrod. Now we are going to play the next two performers I'm going to spin here will be performing at Colony in Woodstock, the other end of the Hudson Valley, also tomorrow night. Let's start it off right now with James Maddock here on 91.3 WVKR, Independent Radio Poughkeepsie.
I was sitting in a cafe called the Village Grove. Heard a couple of girls talking in the next booth. I thought I heard my name, so I tuned right in. My blood ran cold beneath my crawling skin. Cut me like a knife, need a bit of luck in life. Little bird in the neighborhood, little singing and the word ain't good. Oh, little bird in the neighborhood, little bird in the neighborhood, little news and the news ain't good. Oh, little bird in the neighborhood, little bird in the neighborhood. I was walking the street in the afternoon, day drinking, planning my next move. My heart's so heavy and my head's full of doubt. It's easy getting into things, but ain't it hard getting out? Like a roll of the dice, you need a bit of luck in life. Little bird in the neighborhood, heard her singing and the word ain't good. Oh, little bird in the neighborhood, little bird in the neighborhood, but the news and the news ain't good. Oh, little bird in the neighborhood, little bird in the neighborhood. Little bird in the neighborhood, heard her singing and the word ain't good. Oh, little bird in the neighborhood, little bird in the neighborhood, but the news and the news ain't good. Oh, little bird in the neighborhood, little bird in the neighborhood, the word ain't good. Oh, little bird in the neighborhood, little bird in the neighborhood, and the news ain't good, and the news ain't good. Little bird in the neighborhood, little bird in the neighborhood.
You're trying to stand up, you can't get up off your seat. The music's no longer playing, but you're still tapping your feet. This joint looks familiar, but you're not sure where you are. I thought you'd been everywhere, but you never left this bar. Take a look around, son, your friends are all gone. You wanna keep on going, there's really nothing going on. Now take one last look, I think you finally know this party is over. It was over a long time ago. Long time ago. You called up all your friends, see if anyone's still up, but nobody ever answers, cause they've all had enough. You find a new place to go, maybe meet somebody new. You can tell all those stories about the things you used to do. Take a look around, son, your friends are all gone. You wanna keep on going, there's really nothing going on. Take one last look, I think you finally know
do you see? Their reflection don't look nothing like the men you used to be. You find there is the end, there's nowhere left to go. No one around here cares enough to want to tell you to go home. Take a look around, son, your friends are all gone. You want to keep on going, there's really nothing going on. Take one last look, I think you finally know this party is over. It was over a long time ago. A long time ago. This party was over a long time ago. It's time to go. It's time to go home.
91.3 WVKR, the great Brian Mitchell, the release called Songs from the Lower East Side. 12 wonderful tracks on this CD featuring Brian Mitchell, piano, organ, accordion, harmonica, synthesizer, and vocals. The incredible Sean Pelton on drums, and Zev Katz on bass, Fred Walcott on percussion, and Chris Cupida, shakers, tambourines, and synth. Produced by Brian Mitchell, recorded at Studio G in Brooklyn. Brian splits his time between Brooklyn and Woodstock, is part of the Midnight Ramble Band at Levon Helm Studios, and also part of the Wait Band, as well as doing his solo work. Tomorrow night, he does a show with James Maddock, who we heard prior to Brian. James's album, the latest album called Little Bird in the Neighborhood. We heard the title track. I know he's busy working on yet another album. James Maddock along with Brian Mitchell, the two of them, they play so beautifully together. They've toured Italy. They play together when they schedules allow, and that's exactly what they're doing tomorrow night. So James Maddock, Brian Mitchell, tomorrow night in Woodstock at Colony. ColonyWoodstock.com for tickets and info to that show. So much fun to see those guys. And it is 5:16. You are tuned into Local Motion here on 91.3 WVKR. I'm your host, Rita Ryan, here each and every Wednesday from 4 to 6 p.m. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. This show, we're doing all music from the Hudson Valley. Speaking of which, Jessie Lee Montag is from the Hudson Valley. I'm digging her new EP. Let's take a listen to a track of hers right here, right now. 91.3.
Forget about me and cry me a cowboy, leathered in face, paint me a race car so I can get out of this place. Baby, can you feel the weight of
There's a place not far from here. It changes every other year. The climate is so hot and dry. The view so great, you wanna cry. The breeze so soft, you wonder if it's real. The clouds, they float like fishing boats. The sun so strong, you think it's wrong. The mighty river never stops. The ocean acts as if a prop. The birds that fly will make you feel so high. Paradise is lonely without you being there. Longing for your presence, a moment could you spare? There's nothing wrong with fantasy as long as you're aware. Island of the sun, beware, we will soon be living there. Island of the sun, beware, we will soon be living there. Sun, beware, we will soon be living there. Island of the sun, beware, we will soon be living there. The night reveals a secret, the twilight of your soul. The earth is deep within us, the magic that is told. O's of lightning flashing through the air of time. Shooting star will streak the sky, a moment lost without the eye. A calling from the moon above, answers to the ancient love. True reflection, take us to this land. Paradise is lonely without you being there. Longing for your presence, a moment could you spare? There's nothing wrong with fantasy as long as you're aware. Island of the sun, beware, we will soon be living there. Island of the sun, beware, we will soon be living there.
91.3 WVKR, Island of the Sun, written by John Menegon. The group, they call themselves Sharp Five, featuring Terry Roiger on vocals, Pete Levin, piano and keyboard, John Menegon on bass, Jeff Siegel on drums, Nanny Asis on percussion and vocals, and Jay Collins, also guest musician on flute and tenor sax on a couple of these tracks. That's Sharp Five. And Terry will be performing a Mother's Day brunch at Bearsville Theater that Mother's Day Sunday. So you can make reservations to check out Terry Roiger. She's playing with some of the musicians who played on this release called Sharp 5 as well. We also heard music from Jesse Lee Montag. Unhooked is the name of the release. Cowboy, the name of the track. 7 tracks on this, and I just think she's a great musician and a great gal. Thanks, Jesse. And we're going to keep the music flowing here. It's 5:25, and last week's guest, always a thrill to speak with Happy Traum, who was my guest last week, and it's like getting a history in folk music, and that's what Happy Traum does really well, and he's just a wonderful person. And we're going to play a track of his, and I'll let you know where he's playing this weekend. Happy Traum, Just for the Love of It is the name of the release. Things Are Coming My Way. Let's take a listen right here, right now. 91.3.
The left hind leg of a rabbit